Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. 9 area Calhoun's locations to choose from. I was at one this week, as a matter of fact. You can't beat Calhoun's food, and part of the reason is it's fresh. It's local food off local farms whenever possible. Calhoun's supports the local economy, supports those local farmers by getting out and getting the food from the local guys whenever possible. I say this every week, it's true. They call themselves the Taste of Tennessee. They could just change it to the Taste of East Tennessee, because that's what it is, Calhoun's. All right. I want to welcome in the next member of our panel down there, Mr. Chuck Cavaleris. Thanks for being with us. I will start with you and Mr. Himes. Let me put up a quick graphic here of all the series on offense for Tennessee. A series, it's series of unfortunate events. There you go. You see the first 2 drives, and look, now I took sack yardage out of that because I'm not taking that out of the rush yards. That's silly. Sack yards aren't counted. Penalty yards aren't counted. So if the numbers don't add up for you, that's why. But 7 plays, 46 yards, 14 plays, 80 yards, and then basically you had the 51-yard drive and the 73-yard drive at the end when they're in prevent. You didn't do anything. And you can see how many times Kelly, 2 carries for 30 yards on the first drive, 5 for 16, then 1 for 0, 1 for 0, 3 for 7, 0 for 0, 2 for 0, 1 for 0, 1 for 5, 0 for 0. They just shut him down. There was just nothing to go to. Your thoughts on play calling, guys? Chuck, I'll start with you. Play calling, if you want to get into the last series, you can, but just overall, and we'll talk about the play caller specifically later, so don't step on that one, but play calling yesterday.
Well, I mean, clearly it's just not good enough. You scored 29 points in 3 SEC games. You got shut out in 1. What I looked at, John, the first quarter, you have 133 yards, and in your last drive, you moved downfield against the prevent. What did you do in between?
Nothing.
And nothing.
Absolutely.
And if your line isn't blocking well enough and you have these slow developing routes with wide receivers that can't get separation, I mean, sometimes I don't know what play you call, but you've got to change something to open this up. I mean, they're scared to death to let your quarterback throw over the middle. I mean, even like a little shallow cross or something. The only really consistent offensive pass play to me seems like their screen game's better. But other than that, I mean, I don't know a whole lot of plays that work when your personnel isn't doing the job.
Jimmy, your thoughts on play calling yesterday or on the final series, whichever way you want to take it?
I thought they were too vanilla with what they were doing with their play calling. Look, here's my belief. If you have pretty much dominant personnel, you can be pretty basic with your offense. If you don't, you better come up with some trick plays. They tried, I guess, a couple of them. There was a throwback pass to Josh Smith, and he misfired downfield. But I think you've got to mix it up a lot more than what Tennessee did. I like what Tennessee did in getting it down to the 2-yard line after that. With 4 seconds left, I'm probably going to give it to John Kelly. Certainly with 1 second left, I want to put it in his hands rather than a redshirt freshman quarterback who's not been in that position before. And I know Kelly didn't do much in the second half. I get that, but I would take my chances on him making a play there than I would my quarterback.
I mean, those kind of plays you can always question. Everybody out there has to, I would have done this. But, you tried to go under center a couple times yesterday. You ran play action out of it and got sacked twice. But it would be nice. We talked yesterday. It's a different option, different points on the field. But what if you had a little package, just a little package where Garantano get under center and it's just a straight option. He runs, Kelly runs. I keep, I pitch. There's your deal. On that kind of a last gas play, it would have been nice to see something unusual. A jet sweep, which no longer is part of this offense, was a huge part when Mike DeBoard was here. There are all kinds of options you could have gone to. I guess we second-guess anything that doesn't work.
But even on that, John, it didn't look like the receivers were lined up right. There was a little bit of confusion out there. And I would almost guarantee that was not the play they were supposed to run. Those were not the patterns they were supposed to run. And if that is, you deserve to get beat. If that's the best you can come up with in that situation, you deserve to lose.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the next topic. Bob and Will, here's a look at the last 3 years. These are all games decided by 6 points or less. In other words, one play could make a difference. One play. And you lost to Florida this year. If Palmer or Kelly catches a touchdown pass, you probably win. Yesterday, if Johnson's able to catch that pass, you win. Plenty of them down there, the one-play games. But you also had 4 of those that were wins like that, including UMass. One play the wrong way, you fumble, they pick it up, run away, you lose to UMass. Let me go ahead and show this next picture. Let's go ahead. This is how close it was yesterday. On television, from the front, it looked like the Carolina defensive back got a hand on it. From behind, it just looks like it kind of went through Johnson's hands here. That's how close it is between winning and losing the SEC. But instead of being able to say, well, Jones is really close, I'm a believer in you are what you are. You guys agree or disagree? Part of your job as a coach is to win the close games. He doesn't win enough of them.
And I think that goes to one thing on the positive side. The positive side is his players don't ever seem to quit on him. I mean, it's been shown time and time and time again. They don't quit. A lot of those close games, the wins and the losses, Tennessee had to come back in sort of a furious fashion and got into it. That's where I think I've got issues with Jones in other areas, but I think his game day decision making, you almost have to come down to that. When you've got that many close ones on either side, okay, a decision here and there, and the majority of the time it looks like you make the wrong decision.
Yeah, and I think, John, you're exactly right. I believe it is you are who your record says you are. I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at that and saying, well, we could have lost or we could have won, but you're going to come out in somehow, some way of what you were doing in those ball games and whether you earned it or not. And so for this coaching staff, I believe that it's just not been good enough to know how to take advantage of certain possessions and certain things and get an advantage over certain teams at different points. Because in a lot of those games, let's face it, not many of those games that you were close and lost or close and won were you not supposed to win and didn't have better talent. So those are not a lot of games where I said, you know, there's the Alabama game there and a couple of those that you were close against good teams that were better than you, but not many.
Look at Florida. How many times you're in the red zone, you don't come away with touchdowns. Yesterday, you're inside the 5 on 2 different occasions, you can't get a touchdown.
Yeah, the Reds, and that's something we talked about before the season. We looked at the numbers that you probably couldn't match from last year. And red zone efficiency, because they were so good, 75% of the red zone touchdowns last year. You're nowhere near that this year.
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. It's amazing, and that's the funny thing. Close games, you're probably 2 plays away from being 5-1 this year. Yeah. You're also 2 plays away from being 1-5. Georgia Tech and UMass go the wrong way. Yeah. But if this team, talk about receivers, if Jennings isn't hurt, if Malone comes back, if Dobbs is back, they're probably 5-1.
I think so.
Ifs and buts.
Candy and nuts.
There you go. All right, much more to cover today. Is 4-8 a real possibility? Tennessee's never had an 8-loss season. Is that a real possibility? The quarterback situation, who's the guy moving forward? He commits on the recruiting front. John Gruden. But next, hashtag groomers. But next, why or why not? Just go ahead and make the move on Jones now. Come on back.